Jazzcast Pros.
Hey, business bestie. Welcome back to Heart of the Hustle podcast. Today, I want to talk to you guys who are bosses who also have a part-time job. Yes, this is a thing. Even being successful, I'm an employee. I'm an entrepreneur who is also an employee, right? So I'm going to give you 4 things that I do to balance both of those things out. If you are an entrepreneur who is still working towards your goals of becoming a millionaire and still need the safety net of a 9-to-5 job, or just feel comfortable having your 9-to-5 job to keep yourself busy like I do. Welcome to the Heart of the Hustle podcast. I am your host, Monique. You can call me Motivation. With this podcast, my mission is to teach you all of the things I wish I knew before starting a business so that you can avoid the pitfalls of entrepreneurship and turn your passion into profitability legally. This episode of Heart of the Hustle podcast is sponsored by Textures Beauty Bar, located at 2352 Lau Avenue, where they specialize in all your hair care needs. Ladies, all ages and textures are welcome. Whether you have natural or relaxed hair, they have a stylist that's perfect for you. Follow them on Instagram at Textures Beauty Bar, or book your appointment at www.texturesbeautybar.com. I have a part-time job with an organization that is close to my heart. It started off as volunteer work, but they hired me on, and I stick with the organization because it helps me to assist in the community with things that are important to me. But we have a new boss who just came into the organization, and as an entrepreneur, I cannot work a set amount of hours a week. So my other boss understood that, and at times I worked inside of my spa when I didn't have clientele. She would shoot me work for me to do for the organization, and that worked, but those rules changed. So I had to pivot and actually be present in the office. Now, let me tell you how that was conflicting to my schedule and to my mental stability, because me being present there meant that I could not be present in my business. And if you are a boss who has your own business, you would understand wholeheartedly how that would bring a shift about in your entrepreneurship journey. So the other day, I was scheduled to work at the office in the morning. I dedicated Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, which are kind of slow days at the Groom Room Men's Spa and Lounge. Those are my slower mornings here at the spa. So I said, okay, I can dedicate to come in and dedicate those hours to the other organization that I work for. One of those days, a client called, and it's one of my VIP clients. And as a VIP member, you are awarded priority booking. So he wanted to come in and he wanted to get a package service. Now, our package services range from $199 to $499 up to $899, right? So I had to choose between calling in and going to take that package and get that money. So I was very transparent with both of my bosses that I had a client. I was going to probably be done about noon, and then I would come in. That client added on services, which added on an extra hour and a half to his package. So I had to tell them that I wasn't going to be able to come in because I also had an appointment at 2:00, which would be the time that I would get off of my part-time job to come into the spa. So I had to go in to work for mandatory meetings. We have mandatory meetings where you have to be present every Tuesday evening. So when I went in, my boss, my new boss greeted me and he said, "There's Miss MIA." And I got offended. And I can truly admit that as an entrepreneur, I am a bit insubordinate when it comes to working for somebody else or taking rules or directive from someone else. I can admit that I am insubordinate at times, and that kind of offended me because I know that I was being clear in my text messages and my communication with them. But when I was hired on to this organization, I was clear and transparent that the Groom Room Men's Spa and Lounge comes before everything. The Groom Room Men's Spa and Lounge comes before everything, and that is my priority because that is my bread and butter. That is how I pay all of my bills. That is how I make a living, is through my clientele at the Groom Room. So I was not willing to risk rescheduling my client or not getting that bag in order to come and make minimal money. I can honestly say I only make $20 an hour there. Me making $20 an hour there versus me making the $498 that I made in those 3 hours from being here at the Groom Room. That was a no-brainer. That was a no-brainer for me to pick my client over the dedication to my part-time job. And I just want to know in the comments, are any of you entrepreneurs in a situation to where you are still working a 9 to 5 or a part-time job out of comfortability? I do it because as an entrepreneur, as a solopreneur, I like the benefits of my part-time job. I like the benefits that the company offers. And I feel like that's netting for if anything falls to the wayside. And one day I wake up and I decide I don't want to be an entrepreneur anymore, that I would like somebody to give me directive every day and decide on my pay. I like the dental. I like the insurance. I like the health insurance. I need those benefits because I have 3 children and a grandson to also think about. And it doesn't take much effort for me to do my job. And my job is very fulfilling for me mentally. It also helps with my grief. So I love what I do for this organization, and I love what they do for me as an organization. So I want to know, is there any entrepreneurs who are experienced or have experienced the same thing? During the meeting, they always ask, how do you feel? How's everybody feeling? And in the meeting, I had to take a breath and I had to express what I was feeling. I expressed that in my journey as an entrepreneur, how important my business is to me, but how important my job with their organization is to me as well. I don't ever want to feel as if I have to choose between those two. The hours that I am supposed to be available for them may change according to my client's need and need for me to be present for them. So I'm willing to be flexible in my part-time job and make up those hours or do other things outside of my schedule that would work for me to be beneficial to their organization. So I just want to know if you guys have or are experiencing the same thing. I love having the freedom to be impactful to my community and having the impact to be involved in situations that I have been involved in and needed someone there for the guidance of what to do next. So I'm going to give you guys 4 things as a solopreneur with a part-time job, because I am a solopreneur here at the spa. I have per diem staff, but most of the time I am taking on 85% of the clientele on my own schedule.
If you're enjoying this episode, check out High Vibe Table Talks, where we start to remove mental barriers and take action now so you can achieve your someday desires. I'm your host, Mershawn Hargrave, and if you've ever heard that little voice inside to go after something, but the fear around the unknown felt too big, this is the podcast for you. Listen and subscribe to High Vibe Table Talks on the Jazzcast Pros Network, because it is high time you activated your high vibes.
So I do these 4 things to be respectful to the organization that I work for part-time. Clearing your calendar, making sure that you are dedicating certain hours to that organization and being transparent with the organization on flexibility, making sure that they're flexible with your entrepreneurship calendar or your entrepreneurship journey. If they see you as an asset, that would be a no-brainer, especially if you don't work somewhere who is open from certain time to a certain time, and you can be flexible. There are other things that you can do to make up those hours. So clearing your calendar, like I normally block out my Monday mornings and my Tuesday mornings, because through research, I know that my Tuesday evenings are when people normally book. My Mondays are normally clear, so I can dedicate those days to the organization that I work for part-time. So clearing your calendar and being transparent with the staff or your managers on your need for flexibility in your calendar in order for you to make your money goals and to be present for your people who patronize you, right? And respecting goals. I feel like I respect the goals of the organization that I work for, and I give them my goals as an entrepreneur and the goals that I have for my business beforehand, so they know how passionate I am about servicing my clients. They know how passionate I am about having my time here. And when my phone rings and it's for the groom room, like they're having difficulty scheduling an appointment, I have to step out of the office to make sure that I am giving my customers a clear journey. And sometimes that may be while I'm at work for their organization. So just respecting their goals and them respecting my goals is a huge thing for me. And being flexible is the fourth thing for me. So clear calendar, being transparent, respecting goals, them respecting your business goals and you respecting their goals for their organization, and being flexible. And that means them as well being flexible for your schedule as an entrepreneur, and you being flexible for the times that you may miss in your schedule for their organization. They expect for you to make that time up. If you're hired to be present for a certain amount of time, make sure that you are open and available. If those times are conflicting, make sure you are transparent with your managing staff so that it balances out. And then speaking your mind respectfully. I am very, very open-minded, very candid with my managing staff. If I feel some way, I make sure that as an adult, as an entrepreneur, that I am speaking up for myself. I'm speaking up for my business. I'm speaking up for my time. I'm speaking up so that they know what to expect from me. They know my boundaries. They know my limitations. And I want to hear what they think of that, because again, my entrepreneurship journey is my priority. My part-time job is just that. It's part-time. Me being an entrepreneur is a full-time goal for me. My entrepreneurship is a full-time ride for me. So I want to make sure that if you are one of those entrepreneurs who are still working a 9-to-5 job or a part-time job, that you are clear with your management on what it is your goal is for that organization in your position at their job or at their organization, at their business, and being the figurehead for your business. So I think that everybody who is juggling being an entrepreneur and an employee, it can be done. I've been doing it for about 6 months. Maybe a little bit more time than that. And the checks that I receive from my part-time job, I don't even cash them. I use them for one specific thing in my life. My part-time job takes care of one bill in my life, right? I use that specifically, my mortgage. That is the goal for having my part-time job, so that even if I don't make my desired sale goal for the day at the groom room or for the week, I know that my mortgage is going to be paid, and every paycheck that I receive from them, I never spend. It goes directly to my mortgage, so that my mortgage is now 6 months ahead. I know exactly how much I'm going to get paid from the hours that I work, and my mortgage is paid ahead thanks to my part-time job, which some people feel like having a successful business, you don't need to be an employee. And I feel like that's how I started off. Even when I was starting off and I opened up the groom room, I still was working overnights at Fast Track, the gas station, and people would come in and be so surprised to see me behind the register. My favorite job, even as an entrepreneur, I would close the doors of my spa and I was working as a delivery person for Domino's Pizza. That was literally my favorite job I ever worked. I made just about the same amount as I make now as an esthetician. I was making for Domino's Pizza as a driver. I probably should go back to doing that. That was really fun. You get to meet some people, and it kind of surprised a lot of people when I would come to their home after they saw me on a news interview about my spa, and I would come and deliver their pizza. But that is because Domino's Pizza paid for one bill. That was for my car note and my car insurance. So having two jobs and balancing out and having a plan for those paychecks is a responsible thing. If I could get another job, if I get a third job, I know that I would have less idle time, but I would be overworking myself. So I feel like my job that I have now, my part-time job, it balances out my life, and I still have time to enjoy those things that I work so hard to get. So what I'm going to leave you with is the boss with part-time to-do list. I'm going to leave you guys with those 4 things that you can do and you can use to balance out being an entrepreneur and an employee. If you want a free 15-minute breakthrough strategy call, use the link that's underneath this episode so that we can talk about how you can leverage your employee benefits for your entrepreneurship journey. Okay. If you're having trouble in your business, please give me a call, schedule that free 15-minute breakthrough call with me. I am going to be offering some amazing coaching deals where I literally hold your hand. This is not group coaching. Let me explain to you what group coaching is, where people are bringing in 10 to 25 people at a time, and everybody gets the same coach. Everybody gets the same lessons, but we know in entrepreneurship, everybody is not on the same level. Everybody is not on the same entrepreneurship steps or goals. So what I want to do in my coaching is hold your hand one by one. You are my focus, my sole focus, and I'm only taking 5 to 10 coaching clients a month so that I have time to give you my undivided attention and work solely on your business alone and come up with a plan for you to strategically grow. Okay, we'll work on everything from your growth plan to your mindset, marketing, and productivity. But we will do this on a personal and intimate level, which cannot be done in a group coaching setting. So you get me one-on-one, hand in hand. Book your breakthrough call so that we can see exactly where you are in your business and see how far we can get to your goals and your success. I'm going to leave you guys with my mother's famous motto: nothing comes to a sleeper but a dream. Over and out. Are you ready to elevate from a hustler's mindset to that of a CEO? Subscribe now so that you'll be the first to know when new episodes drop. The Heart of the Hustle podcast on the Jazzcast Pros Network. Visit heartofthehustlepodcast.com or just hit the subscribe button below.